Hey friends, extended vacation over Worm here. Sorry for the lack of an upload on Saturday. I was just busy building my UCS Mos Eisley Cantina that I got from Lego over the weekend. But anyways, today I wanted to bring up something that I really hadn't considered much of an issue until, or I shouldn't say much of an issue. I hadn't considered it up until just today. But the topic of today's video is, of course, why do Titans feel so strong in Supremacy? Now, some backstory for you here. Of course, all last week I was playing on Hunter. Here lately, I've just really been enjoying playing Hunter, having a lot of fun, you know, with the Rat King and other builds that I do on Hunter. But I got bored of Hunter, and I decided, you know, I'm going to go over and play Titan, because Titan is I identify as a Titan main. I say that I play all classes equally. I think Titan's probably just a little bit more, but Titan was like my first ever character that I really put time and effort into. So I consider myself a Titan main. At any rate, I got on Titan, went into Supremacy, and oh my goodness, did the randomly assigned teams that I get absolutely steamroll through some of these enemy teams. Like, and not just like, oh my god, we just barely won. Like we were rolling over these guys like pretty hard. Like I think as Titan, I don't think I lost a single game of Supremacy today while I was playing on Titan. And it made me wonder, why is it that Titan feels so good? And I know I'm not the only one. I know there's a bunch of people out there that talk about Titan and how it's busted, it's OP, it's ridiculous. Like, you know, you've seen the memes on the social media pages of, you know, oh, going up against a full team of Titans, oh, roll your eyes, blah blah blah. So I wanted to talk today and kind of maybe try to find, like, identify the reason why Titan feels so good. Or so strong, I should say. Not necessarily good, even though it does feel good. Why it feels so strong in especially Supremacy. And really, it boils down to kind of one thing that's actually totally unrelated to gameplay. And we're going to talk about that in a second, but I want to get something clear here first real quick. I am very well aware that Titan is generally regarded as like one of the best PvP classes, and I'm not here to dispute that fact, okay? Arc Titan is easily one of the strongest. You know, Knockout is an incredibly good aspect, sorry. It's an incredibly good aspect. The ability to shoulder charge and basically have a free Icarus dash every 2 seconds, or what is it, 1.5 seconds, however long it takes to activate shoulder charge while sprinting. Like the ability to do that is tremendously good, and Titan's kits are very strong. But I wanted to talk more about not so much the Titan and why it's the best, but talk about the distribution of players between the classes, because I think that's the primary reason why Titans feel so just oppressive, I guess is what we would say, in the Crucible. Now, for starters here, last year or the year before, I can't remember which one it was, Bungie released basically, you know, their TWAB talking about Guardian games and how the medals were going to be weighted, because they basically said that, you know, not every class is played equally, even though there's 3 of them, and you know, in a perfect world it'd be a 1/3 split between, you know, Hunter, Titan, and Warlock. It's not like that. And so they talked about, you know, Hunters basically make up more than 50% of the population. And I could be wrong. My numbers could be wrong. Keep in mind, I don't do extensive research. I don't find old TWABs and stuff before I make these videos. So if I say the wrong thing, I do apologize. I'm just kind of going off of what I remember in my head. But I know that Hunters had at least, you know, they had a majority. And I'm pretty sure it was more than a 50%, you know, majority of players playing on Hunter. And Warlock Titan, I think, was split like 30-20, something like that. Again, I could be really wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's roughly kind of what it was, you know, what the split was. And I don't remember if Warlock was played more or Titan was played more. But the thing that I think many players have a tendency to forget is when you have a large pool of players, you know, 50% of the population, for example, is playing as one specific class, it is inevitable that you're going to have more casual players, more players who don't really play that often, who aren't as good at the game in your lobbies, okay? And I'm using Hunter here. I'm not going to really touch on Warlock very much, because today, you're seeing in the background here, I think these upcoming 2 games that you're going to watch were against all Warlocks. These were recorded after I had kind of, thought about, what to talk about and stuff like that. And actually, after I finished the next game after this is when I made this video. But I played like, I would say probably at least 10 games against Hunter today. Like these 2 games, I think I had 3 games total today. 3 games total where I played against Warlocks, and all of my other games were against Hunters. And I think I would go out on a limb here and say I probably played like 13, 14, maybe even 15 games today. Okay, and we are primarily facing Hunters. And this is why I point out that, Hunters, it feels like Titans might be oppressive because Hunters, they outweigh every other class by a lot. So number one, other classes like Warlock and Titan are going to be matching against Hunters way more than each other. Like I said, 3 games against Warlocks is what, 20% of my games today were against Warlocks. The other 80% in Supremacy were against Hunters. Okay, and that's kind of where I'm coming from with this. And the games against Warlocks, as you can kind of see here, they weren't stomps, so to speak. Like I wish I had footage from the Hunter game, like the games where we played against Hunters, because those games were absolutely, like, they were boring for me as a player. I can only imagine how boring they were for the enemy team. There was one game where we beat them like 150 to like 23 or something like that, because for whatever reason Bungie has not included a mercy rule in Supremacy, which I think they need to add. At any rate, so Hunters, they make up a massive part of the population. It is inevitable that you're going to have, less skilled players more commonly appear on your team of Hunters. Like if you think about it, the Crucible normal 6v6 is split up based on, connection and somewhat skill. Connection priority, but then skill is kind of its, the second thing. So yeah, you get those wacky games where, you're really good and you get put on a team with terrible players and you get stomped, but you personally did good. And then there's other games where it's pretty balanced. And I think most Crucible 6v6 Crucible games are really pretty balanced. The ones that I play are really balanced. But the Supremacy is different. And of course, it's because in these other 6v6 games, teams aren't divided up by class. It's okay, we've got, there's 6 Hunters in this lobby. All 6 of these Hunters are, really good. So we're going to put 3 on one team, or maybe 4 on one team, or 2 on one team. 4 on the other, the 2 that are the best on one team, the 4 that are not the best on the other, blah, blah, blah. It divides like that. But when you are constricted to playing with your specific class, it's going to find the people with the best connection and just throw you in with them. And again, because Hunters have such a massive population, you're going to have people that are much less skilled. And I definitely noticed that in my games. And in fact, I did do a tiny bit of data gathering, and I just picked the top 3 players on each team. On my team, excluding myself, of course, on my team, and then on the enemy team, and I compared the hours that they have played, and I was shocked to find that Titans, like I think there was one Titan that had less than 1,000 hours in game. Okay, so Titans, every single Titan I looked at for, of course, like 3 or 4 games. Again, not a massive pool, but it was big enough to just give me an idea. But the 3 or 4 games I picked, the top 3 Titans, excluding myself, had at least 1,000 hours. So they had a 4-digit number in terms of their hours played. Hunters, on the other hand, had 3 digits. Okay, and it ranged anywhere. Like I think the lowest one I saw was somebody that had like 67 hours or something crazy like that. But then, the highest one I saw was like 700 and something hours. So there's a major discrepancy between Titans and Hunters. And I think that the next reason as to why Titans feel so oppressive is because Hunters are automatically they really pique new players' interest. Hunters, it's this cool space cowboy, lone gun, scout kind of thing. And everybody when they think of Destiny, I was the same way. My first character I made was a Hunter for that exact reason. And so, all these players, they see it and they're like, wow, the Hunter, that looks so cool. They see the cloak, they see the armor, it's a really cool character. And naturally, many people gravitate towards selecting Hunter right off the bat. Okay, so not only do you have the higher number of players playing on Hunter, but of course these players have substantially less skill than something like Titan. In fact, I think the rate of, you know, what players choose is Hunter is always first, Warlock comes second because space magic, Titan comes last because Titan doesn't sound very interesting like when you read it as like from a new player's perspective. Sorry, it doesn't sound all that interesting. Like Warlock sounds really cool, Hunter sounds really, really cool. But of course we all know Hunter's kit is one of the hardest to master. Just generally speaking here, not any specific subclass or anything like that, but Hunter's kit is, you know, widely regarded as like the most difficult to master. So you're getting a bunch of players who are not that great at Destiny, who picked Hunter because it sounded cool and they're playing on Hunter and they haven't had time to make another class because they're grinding up through the levels, you know. That's what I did in Destiny 1. Like I played on Hunter for weeks before I even thought about making, you know, a Titan. And then turns out I like Titan a lot more than I liked Hunter in Destiny 1. But players are in the same boat here. You know, players that, you know, came in with Lightfall, they got it with Lightfall, they made their Hunters, they, you know, they play as their Hunters, they're trying to level up their Hunter, they're trying to hit the pinnacle cap, they don't have other characters made, they don't have the same level of skill that somebody like maybe you or I do. You know, I don't know how many hours, I can actually pull it up over here, hold on, let me pull up Steam real quick. But, you know, if you're watching this video, chances are you probably have a lot of hours in this game. Like I don't make videos that are aimed at like casual players. Like, you know, this is a hardcore player discussion, so to speak. But okay, let me see how many hours. Yeah, I have 4,143 hours on PC alone. That's excluding Xbox. At any rate, so with all these new players, like it's inevitable that Hunters, like even if you're the best Hunter player, like even if you've been maining Hunter for 9 years now, you go flawless multiple times every single weekend on your Hunter because you are absolutely, you know, the Hunter is your class. The chances that you are put up against a team of Titans, or I'm sorry, against or with a team of Hunters that are substantially less skilled is so much higher versus something like Titan. Like Titan, yes, there are new players that play Titan, but think about the number of new players that are playing as Titan or Warlock for that matter. You know, that don't have the same amount of hours versus Hunters. Okay, it's just the numbers don't lie. The numbers tell us that, hey, it is more likely as a Hunter that you're going to get put on a team of less skilled Hunters because there's so freaking many Hunters out there, and there's no problem with that. Like Hunter's an awesome class. Like I've been maining Hunter all week last week. Heck, I would say this season I have mained Hunter like as my primary class, just because I'm loving, you know, some of the builds that I've got going on and stuff like that. But it all boils down, like I said, to the fact that, you know, there's just so many there's so many Hunters. You know, Titans feel really strong because yes, they do have a strong kit, but I think it's also, you know, you're getting put with players who are nowhere near as good as the team of Titans. You know, and like I said, this is not going to be the case for everybody. Like you may be a Hunter, you may be you know, getting put on teams of Hunters that are absolutely steamrolling through Titans, you know. However, my experience in just today alone, the one day I've played on Titan this week, I have steamrolled through every single team we found. This is Warlocks and Hunters both, but you know, I think it's more so to do with the fact that Hunters and Warlocks are likely the more, I know Hunters are the most chosen class, and they've got a bunch of players that have not mastered the kits yet. And of course, there's no skill-based matchmaking in Supremacy either, which doesn't help because, you know, if you are a Titan and, you know, around you is, you know, 3 other people that just main Titan all the time, and that's their thing to do, and then, you know, everybody else in your city is playing on Hunter, like it's inevitable that you're going to get more good players playing on Titan and more not as good players playing on Hunter. And I think that's the primary reason why it feels like Titans are so, I guess, potent. They feel so overwhelming in the Crucible, or in Supremacy particularly. Okay, and this is why I think Bungie has not done a class versus class Crucible game mode ever, like ever before. Because I think that for years, players have been asking, oh, like, please, like, you know, Guardian Games Front, please let us do Warlock versus Hunter, Hunter versus Titan, Titan versus Warlock, whatever. And I think the reason why Bungie has shied away from that is because of what we're seeing right now. Like, Titan, again, it's good, but I would say pound for pound, if you took Titan and a Warlock, like a great Titan player, a great Hunter player, and a great Warlock player, I guarantee you the Hunter player would come out on top. I think I said Titan, Hunter, Warlock, right? all three classes, put them up in like, you know, 1v1 bracket, skill bracket thing, I guarantee the hunter would come out on top, because hunter has the kit for PvP, but it's difficult to master, a lot more difficult than other classes, you know. And so the players that are coming in here, they haven't mastered it, you know. One of the big commonalities that I saw in these games also was on hunters. Most of the hunters I'm fighting were like level 6 in terms of, or guardian rank 6, guardian rank 6, which indicates to me that they are not as devoted to the game as somebody like me or somebody like you might be, you know. And so I think that's the primary reason why. Now, of course, we do need to talk about the Titans kit, because I do think the Titans kit is complete 100% catered to the Supremacy game mode. Like, you know, Warlocks, I would say Warlocks have the best kit for like control. Hunters have the best kit easily for something like Trials. But when it comes to Supremacy, Titan is the way to go, because Titans builds and Titans kits, they revolve around close range gameplay. Okay, and in order to win these games, you have to kill somebody and then pick up their crest. So you have to go to where they died. It's not like, you know, Control, where you can sit on a flag and kill people from a distance or something like that. Like, no, you have to be up in players' faces, and Titans are very, very good at that. And Titans kits are very good at that. I mean, we have the melees for it. We have the aspects, the fragments designed around close range gameplay, you know. Not only that, but our exotics cater to that. I mean, think about Antaeus wards, Dune Marchers, Peacekeepers. Like, these are all exotic pieces of armor that encourage playing close. Like, Antaeus ward is not going to do much if you know, you're using a scout rifle. You know, Dune Marchers, again, same thing, not going to do much. You know, it'll give you that sprint speed, but the linear actuators, the shocking feature, you have to punch somebody for it. Peacekeepers encourages the use of submachine guns, like what's another, Synthoceps, for example. Synthoceps, same thing, melee based. You know, the exotics that people use on Titan are good because they are the best exotics on Titan are the ones that cater to that close range playstyle, right? And so when you're having to close the distance to get these crests and stuff like that, that's why Titans feel like they are easily the best class in this game mode. You know, plus Titans, the ability to play aggressive as a Titan, I think Titan does aggressive play the absolute best. I will die on that hill too. I think that in terms of aggressive play, Titans are the absolute best at it, especially the Arc Titan, which we know Arc Titan is getting a nerf next season. I'm not going to talk about how it's broken and busted, blah, 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 because it's obvious knockout does need to be tuned. Like, it's knockout 6.5 meter melee range just for damaging somebody is a lot. So, you know, we know that knockout's getting toned down. We also know that the shoulder charge abilities are getting toned down. And again, these are contributing factors to why Titans feel oppressive, but I don't think that we can just exclusively blame, shoulder charge, knockout as the reasons why, God, you see me whiff all those grenades. Sorry. As the reason why Titans are broken, or why Titans feel overwhelming. Now, of course, what do we do to fix this issue? And it's quite simple. I don't think Bungie will do it, but the only way to really fix like the feeling that Titans are overwhelming and incredibly powerful is to introduce some sort of skill-based matchmaking into the Supremacy playlist, which, as you may know, I'm not a big fan of skill-based matchmaking for the simple fact that, in 6v6 modes. In 6v6 modes, I'm not a big fan of skill-based matchmaking, because in 6v6 mode, that's a party mode. That's a fun mode. You know, I shouldn't have to wait, 5 minutes for a match in 6v6. Trials, sure. Okay, competitive, sure. That's fine. But the sixes, no. But I think the only way to really allow players to, not be oppressed by Titans is really to introduce some type of skill-based matchmaking. That way it puts the low-skill Titans with the low-skill hunters, and then the high-skill Titans with the high-skill hunters. Because, again, I think a team, like a 6-stack of high-skill hunters and a 6-stack of high-skill Titans, I think Titans would still come out on top, but it wouldn't be an absolute smash, Other than that, I don't really, Bungie's already got some nerfs coming to Titan down the line, which I think those are, I don't have any complaint in terms of those. I think those are good changes that they're making, much needed changes. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Of course, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you think that's, do you think that maybe, again, think outside the box here. Don't instinctively jump in and say, hey, no, Titans are busted because they're just busted because they have all this stuff. Like, think about it. Like, if you're a hunter, you're a hunter main, you get beat by Titans all the time in Supremacy, or all week you've been beaten by Titans in Supremacy. Is it because the Titans are oppressive, or is it because your team is, your team is lacking in terms of the skill department? Yeah, ask yourself that question. Same thing if you're a warlock, I guess you can ask yourself the same question too. But I think that Titan is oppressive. I'm not saying it's not, but I think the main reason why it feels artificially oppressive in Supremacy is because of the fact that these other classes are not, or I'm sorry, Hunter especially is not full of skilled players. Like, it has a lot more unskilled players. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Of course, like this video if you enjoyed it. We had a 20-minute one today, which is fantastic. Listen to it while you fall asleep, I don't care. But yeah, like it if you enjoyed it. Sub for more daily Destiny content, because we do discussions like this all the time. And hey, do me a favor, watch the video that YouTube is telling you to watch right now, because for some reason it thinks you might like it. That's it for me, guys, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye for now.